Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today, starting on this 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, because potentially we have a bit of a warning signal here on the 4-hour time frame. So let's dive right into this analysis. As you can see, we just traded below this orange line, which is the 0.382 Fibonacci level, sitting at 57,000 US dollars. So we already confirmed one candle close below this level and are now coming back up to potentially retest this and confirm it as a level of resistance. However, this next candle close is going to be critical for Bitcoin, because if we now on the lower time frame see another rejection from this 57K level, then it is more likely that we are going to the downside. But at the same time, we have not seen that rejection yet. And we do have 2 hours left on this candle here to actually close back above 57K. So that is something to look out for in the immediate short term here. One other reason that I'm saying it is a little bit early to start confirming another leg to the downside here, of course, on this shorter term, lower time frame, is because we have this bullish divergence still in play here, which is whenever you have lower lows in the Bitcoin price and higher lows in the RSI momentum indicator. Now, in the case that you are not familiar, typically a bullish divergence indicates that we are getting a break from all of this bearish price action, and more likely we are going to see some choppy sideways price action, potentially even some bullish momentum in the short term. And this is exactly what I am expecting, so long as we do not invalidate this bullish divergence. By invalidate, I mean that we either trade below this trend line right here or below this trend line on the RSI. So now let's take a look at the bigger support and resistance levels for Bitcoin. As you can see right now, we are trading inside a big level sitting from 58,000 all the way down to 56,000 US dollars. And yes, recently we wicked all the way down to 55.5K. However, on this 4-hour time frame, we did not lose this as a level of support, because a wick does not count as losing it as a level of support. You would really have to see confirmed candle closes below this level here. And besides that, ideally, you would also see a move back up to this 56K level, for example, and getting a rejection back down to really confirm that this is now a level of resistance and no longer a level of support. So either way, for now, we are still holding this as a level of support, although you should really watch out for that 56K level, because losing that would be quite bearish in the short term. Now, in terms of resistance to the upside, we have this short-term kind of trend line right here that you could look out for as a potential short-term level of resistance. But in the case we break out to the upside from this, then the next level should be right here. So about that 58K level, and above that, we might face some short-term resistance at about 59.2K, roughly speaking. So those are some of the things that I'm looking out for in the immediate short term here. Moving on to this 1-day time frame for Bitcoin, of course, we are still consolidating inside this big descending channel that I've been talking about for months at this point. Either way, for now, we are basically just trading in the middle of the range here. So this is quite a difficult range to navigate for traders here, because, yeah, I mean, if you're clearly at the bottom of the range, it's easy to take a long out of there and, yeah, just ride it, for example, to the middle of the range, or actually up all the way to the top of the range. But when you're sitting in the middle like this, it is a bit more difficult to navigate. And you need to pay much more attention to the lower time frames in order to get a better idea of where the momentum is heading. Either way, for now, we are clearly in this downtrend, so we should expect bearish momentum if we just take a look at this 1-day time frame. Although, of course, do keep in mind that there is a difference between the different time frames. So you can have bullish indicators flashing on the lower time frames and the higher time frames actually flashing some more bearish signals. So those two do not contradict each other. They're simply just a difference between the different time frames. And on this 1-day time frame, we still see this bearish momentum on the MACD indicator, which actually is accelerating a little bit here on this daily time frame just today. Now, if we take a look at the 1-week indicator for the MACD as well, this is also flashing bearish momentum. And I do think that at some point we are going to see this flip back into bullish momentum once again. And of course, when this happens, I will let you know right away, because we should definitely strap in for some insane bullish momentum if that actually happens. But besides that, if we take a look at the RSI momentum indicator for Bitcoin on this 1-week time frame, then right here you can see that we still have this descending line of well, potentially resistance, but either way, this descending trend line in the RSI. And as I've said many times at this point, so long as this is pointing downwards and we are not breaking out of this descending trend line, then the RSI will continue to make lower lows and lower highs, which should indicate bearish momentum for Bitcoin, especially if we go much below this 50 level on the RSI, because around this 50 level, the RSI basically indicates some choppy sideways price action, because there isn't really any strong bullish momentum and there is no strong bearish momentum. But if we now, for example, come back up to this trend line on the 1 week time frame and get another rejection back down, then we should be expecting another leg to the downside for Bitcoin as well. But on the flip side, if we actually break out of here and start blasting off, then this should indicate a much larger move to the upside for Bitcoin, because it would indicate that momentum in the market is shifting. So we are more likely to head back to the upside. So this is another thing you could be looking out for on the 1 week time frame. Moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat maps for today. If we first take a look at this 3-day time frame, you can see that Bitcoin has just been chopping sideways and taking out all kinds of liquidity to the upside and to the downside. Now, currently, Bitcoin is making a bit of a higher low here. So for now, in the short term, potentially we could see another bit of a move to the upside to come grab all of this liquidity at about 57.7K, for example. However, we must keep in mind that there is still this liquidity to the downside sitting as low as about 55.5K once again. And if we zoom out to the 3-month time frame, we can see even more liquidity to the upside sitting at 70,000 US dollars. And once we start confirming a reversal in the price here, we might actually come up to grab all of this liquidity here. I don't know when this will happen, guys, but in my personal opinion, at least, so long as we keep trading inside this range here for Bitcoin, I think that at some point we are coming up to grab all of this liquidity here, although it could take a bit longer before we actually get that move to the upside. But so long as we keep trading inside the range, I am expecting that we come to grab this liquidity here. One last thing I wanted to mention here is the Bitcoin ETF flow tables, because yesterday we saw a net outflow of about $37 million, which is a relatively small outflow in comparison to what we were seeing here recently, with that massive outflow the day before of about $300 million as well. And especially when this flips back to bullish, so that we get net inflows, this could also have an upwards pressuring effect on the Bitcoin price. So this is also something that I will keep an eye on every single day in these daily update videos. So this has been today's market update. We are very close to 5,000 subscribers. So thank you very much. I look forward to reaching this, potentially even tomorrow already. Either way, if we do end up reaching it or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.